I promise not to make these videos every 2 weeks from now on. Well, I promise to try. So, the Student 6 learned that the Tree of Harmony is gone, and all have their own ways of grieving over their mentor? God? Some kind of cosmic pet? Anyway, as they all have different ideas on how they should honor the tree's memory, their well-intentioned but poorly executed plans come into conflict with one another. If you've seen Castle Sweet Castle, this will seem familiar. However, I will say that this setup is in fact better than Castle Sweet Castle, where in that episode the problems arise from Twilight's friends having turned off their brains for roughly 2/3 of the episode. In this case, the blunders are being made by actual children, so it's all much more understandable and endearing. Also, Yona being the one to give the speech that brings the fighting friends back together proves that she's the best of the Student 6, and I will fucking fight you on that. Of course, this wouldn't be an analogy for death episode of a children's show if it didn't end with, oh look, the beloved thing isn't actually dead, it's just different. So now the tree that once made a house is a house. Maybe this is how they defeat the villains this season. They give them a nicer place to live other than Grogar's hovel. And before I forget, is the idea that the Tree of Harmony is supposed to be a stand-in for God in this universe? I mean, it is the single most powerful entity in the show thus far, and it takes the form of Twilight when it chooses to speak, which totally wouldn't inflate Sparkle Horse's overblown ego, I'm sure. And it's now shown to survive actual death, and so close to Easter. I'm mostly asking because this show seems to interpret the concept of friendship as a religion rather than a sociological state of being, so I can't help but wonder if this is them doubling down on that. If so, that kind of concerns me. Like, there are pretty standards, do's and don'ts for friendship, but looking at it through a fundamentalist lens seems like it would only spell trouble for the kids being raised on this show. So, funnily enough, I hadn't realized this was the 200th episode of the show until after I watched it. With that info in mind, well, it's better than Slice of Life. I suppose it makes sense because barring Discord, this episode has it all. Sibling rivalries, breaking and entering, surprise feels, heartfelt resolutions, and honest-to-God twists that actually got me. Gross heterosexuals making gay women uncomfortable. Starlight staying the hell away. Everything I tell you. I honestly don't know if the episode was even that good. I'm just so hungry for something other than empty lore in that fucking school that this was an absolute treat. So an ocean setup, better than what we got from the comics by the way, is practically a stuffed crust pizza with dipping sauce after months of eating white rice. Also, Fluttershy has lasting trauma after almost losing Angel in Castlemania, which is an unexpected callback and bit of characterization. Some people seem to forget that character development can take the form of regression in the wake of severe trauma. It only serves this one scene with her and Spike, and I doubt it will come up in any real capacity again, but it's there. Speaking of Spike, wasn't the idea Father Knows Beast that Spike was Twilight's son rather than her little brother? I get that the Sparkles are his surrogate family, but they're still kind of playing it loosey-goosey, methinks. Ah well, if there's anything to take away from this episode, it's that Luna is indeed that bitch.